Hello, hello. We have 1 minute before class gets started, so take a moment to situate yourself. You might want a blanket. You might want some yoga blocks if you have them. It's going to be a fairly gentle class today because it's an all levels class. I'd like to do a little bit of reading at the beginning of class and the end of class when it's a little bit more of we'll call it a special occasion. So just for the next minute or so, take a moment to get yourself set up as I am going to do, and then we'll get started. Let's start seated. You can be on your mat or on a chair. You can also stand if you prefer, because we're going to do a little bit of introspection or reflection to start, and then we're going to come to stand and get ourselves moving. But we'll be here for the first, I'll call it 3 to 4 minutes of class. Sometimes it's nice to have a blanket to sit on, especially when we're here for more than just a couple minutes. It lifts our hips a little bit so that our hips open up a little bit. It kind of prevents our legs from falling asleep. But like I said, we're not here super long at the beginning of class, just enough for me to do a little reading for, like I said, some reflection. I like to do that as the end of the year comes upon us. You can have some yoga blocks close by. You don't need them, but sometimes they're nice to have. And we're going to get started in just a moment. So I just want to say Merry Christmas if you celebrate. And if you don't, then just a good day to you. And I hope it's really going well. I hope wherever you are warm and safe. Where I am, we didn't get much of the storm, but I hear back home where I live, we're getting hit pretty hard with snow right now. So hopefully you're warm and nestled inside right now. So let's get started. Like I said, we're going to start with a little bit of reflection, introspection. Then we're going to get moving. We're going to flow through some sun salutations to warm ourselves up. We're going to go through a vinyasa practice. If at any point in time you want to make this more challenging, add some push-ups and some lunge, maybe hold. I'm going to read today from one of my little things, Happy Successful People Do Differently by Mark and Angel Chernoff. It's a great book if you can pick it up. They also have a great website with some great blogs. A lot of the stuff is on it. So let's take a moment, sit up nice and tall, press our sitting bones into the surface that we're sitting on, or our feet into the floor if we're standing. Let's take a nice big inhale. And then slowly exhale through the mouth. Let the shoulders relax. Let's take one more breath just to center ourselves here. A nice big inhale. And then center ourselves. Continue to breathe. Nice deep breaths. Embrace the individual inside you who has ideas, strengths, and beauty like no one else. Be the person you know yourself to be, the best version of you on your terms. And above all, be true to you. If you cannot put your heart in it, take yourself out of it. Starting today, get your priorities straight. Take full responsibility for your goals. Know your worth. Choose the right perspective. Don't let your old problems punish your dreams. Choose the things that truly matter. Love you. Accept your strengths and your weaknesses. Stand up for yourself. Learn from others and move on when you must. Be honest in your relationships. I want to add, be honest with yourself. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's where you grow. Be who you were born to be. And never give up on you. Those are some thoughts I want you to carry forward with you off the mat as you finish this year and move into next year. Let's take 1 or 2 more deep breaths here. And then we're going to flip ourselves forward. We're going to come onto an all fours position. So our wrists underneath our shoulders are slightly ahead, our knees underneath our hips, just a little bit of movement in this position, moving through our cow cat. Inhale, we're going to arch, open up. And then exhale, round the back, opening up the back, that space between shoulder blades. Flow this a few times. Inhale, opening up our heart center, our throat. Exhale. You can bend the elbows a little bit more if that feels good. Moving with your breath. Let's do 2 more of each of those. Finishing out this last one, and then making our way to downward facing dog. We're just going to curl the toes, spread the fingers, and lift up the knees. Come to that upside down letter V, and just take a few breaths here. We don't spend a lot of time upside down, and it's nice. Sometimes it puts things in perspective. We can pedal out those feet. If that feels good, we call that walking our dog. We want to make sure we have nice starfish hands. We're not resting on our wrists. We're pressing the fingertips down also. And let's just take another breath here, coming to stillness if we did add movement. And then soften the knees. Take your gaze forward. Walk yourself up behind your hands, feet about hip distance, and we can just kind of hang here in our forward fold. Knees are going to be bent probably a lot right now. We might even slide up a little bit if the hamstrings are still just waking up. Let's take a nice big breath here. We can shake the head, nod the head, sigh, make a sound, blubber the lips. Even more, walk yourself all. Get the body nice and warm. We're going to start with a little chair flow. So we're going to start mobility and start. So with palms facing in, thumbs facing up, we're going to lift the arms. We're going to turn the palms out, sweep the arms behind us, turn palms back in, and just move the shoulders. So we're using the whole shoulder joint here. Knees are soft. And then changing direction. And again, turning palms in and natural as you move those shoulders, getting some nice mobility in that shoulder joint. And then we're going to switch direction again. So we're sweeping the arms behind us in this shoulder. As the arms come behind, now we're going to start to bend the knees and find our chair flow. So coming up nice and tall, pressing the feet into the earth as we rise. Finding our breath here. Checking in with our core. So just that light sensation that we've done a zipper up. So we're just stabilizing our spine. We get power from our core. Our balance comes from our core. So we want to make sure it's nice and strong and stable. Okay, let's do one more with these big arms like this. We're going to meet at the top, reaching up towards the ceiling. I can touch the ceiling here. I'm in a basement. And then we're going to tip to one side. You can grab the arm or the wrist and just gently kind of use the other arm to pull yourself a little more open, creating some space inside body. You might look up, a little stretch for the neck. Both feet pressing down. Breathe into this lovely space you've created as we move laterally. Inhale to come up. Exhale, changing sides. Breathing into these ribs, maybe letting them expand just a little bit more. And then let's come up, circle at the wrists, wiggle the fingers, whatever feels good as you lower the arms. We're going to come to the top of our mat, move through some sun salutations to really get the body warm. So feet hip distance. Let's just pause here in our mountain pose. Spread the toes, press the feet down, engage the legs. We lift up right through the crown of the head. Inhale, let's sweep the arms up, let the palms touch above us. Finding chair, palms to heart center as we exhale. And then pressing back up, softening knees, swan dive, fold here, knees bent, forward fold. Let's slide up the legs to a flat back. Slide back down, soften our knees, fingertips down, right leg back. Releasing the knee, maybe the top of the foot, our first lunge here. Let's set it up right, making sure this knee is safe over top of the ankle. We're gently lifting the belly button up so we're supporting our back, but we're lowering the hip at the same time. Right leg is back, so right fingertips, right palm, or right fist is going to come to the floor. And as we exhale, we're going to twist to this bent left leg. Hand can rest, hand can lift, hand can sweep around, whatever feels good to you. Big toe, still pressing down, so we don't want to swing that knee open. Take a nice breath here as we kind of wring ourselves out. And then let's come back to the center, curl back toes, find downward facing dog. Just a breath here, stretching the back. And then inhale, we come to the knees. Exhale, we find resting pose. You can stay up a little bit if you like, and puppy dog, if that feels better. Take a nice big inhale, and then exhale, come forward to kneeling plank. We're gonna pause here. We're gonna push against the floor, lengthen the neck, elbows are soft, and we're gonna lower down. Lengthen the spine, small, medium, or a large cobra, elbows soft. We're drawing shoulder blades back. Nice heart opener, chest opener. Inhale to release, curl toes. Exhale, big push to down dog. And then we're gonna soften those knees. We're gonna pick up the right leg and we're gonna sweep it underneath us to find that lunge on this side. Now, if you have a hard time with that, you can take a bunch of little steps or you can really lift the leg so you got that space to get it up. Front knee over top of that ankle, belly button drawing up, hip drawing down. Neck is long, chest is open, fingertips, palm or fist on the floor. Exhale, we twist. Breathe. Big back to center, curling those back toes. Forward to our fold. Let's slide up to that flat back. Slide back down. Soften knees. You can roll up, reverse swan dive all the way up. Find mountain pose. Another sun salutation, a little different. Inhale, sweep up, palms touch. We find chair. Press with the feet as you rise. Swan dive here. We slide up to that flat back and we float back down. Softening knees, fingertips down, right leg back. Hip distance, press with the feet all the way up to our high lunge. So just making sure shoulders are over top of our hips, knees are bent. So if you want a little bit more here, you can start to do a little bit of lunging here. Otherwise, you can just hold and breathe. Arms can be wherever we like. If you're lunging, you're pressing with those feet, you're coming straight down and up. Let's take one more breath, whether we're moving or holding. Coming to the top of our lunge, finding the floor, finding downward facing dog. Starfish hands. We shift forward to our plank. We're going to stay here. We can stay on the toes or pop down to the knees. Lifting the belly button up, shoulder blades down. Elbows tuck in from knees or from toes. We lower down. Find some length, opening up, small, medium, or large cobra. Still warming up the back. Let's inhale to release. Curl toes. Exhale all the way up, down dog. Soften those knees. Picking up the right leg, helping it if you need to. Spread the toes. Push the feet to come up. So we use the legs, not the back, to rise. And again, once you're grounded here, stable, feeling safe, this can be challenging just holding this lunge. Or you can start to add some movement. Leaving that up to you today. I'm going to do a little bit of both. Again, pressing with those feet. We rise, we push to really engage the legs. The core is on, it's going to help with our balance. One more breath here, whether we're moving or not. Come to the top of that lunge. We're going to dive forward, step forward with the back leg. Slide up, flat back. Slide back down. Soften knees all the way up to our mountain pose. All right, inhale, let's sweep up. Palms touch. Let's find our chair. Let's pause here. So hands can stay tucked in, hips down and back. For a little bit more, we go lower. For a little bit more, we can challenge the core by sending the arms out or lifting the arms up. So we're a long lever here. So that's more work for your core to hold this longer lever in place. So if it's too much for the back, for the belly, we tuck. We want to be drawing that belly button in. That's going to support your spine. Breathe. I'll go middle of the road. One more breath. Next long. Inhale, press all the way up. Exhale, swan dive. Let's slide up to that flat back. Slide back down. Soften the knees. Fingertips down. Left leg back. Hip distance. We're going to spin that heel down and then push all the way up, opening up to warrior two. So we're getting into some of the meat and potatoes here, if you will. So if we want to make this more challenging, we get wider, sink a little bit lower. You might offer a little bit of pulsing to pull back. We shorten the stance. Don't bend the knee as much. Don't go as low. You always want to make sure that knee is safe, not pushing past the toes wherever you've ended up. All right, back leg, nice and strong. So about 50% of our weight in each leg. We're going to be here for a little bit. All right, we're going to challenge these leg muscles. Use our core. So let's slide forward. Forearm's gonna lightly rest. We're gonna sweep this arm, and you might do this a few times if that feels lovely for your shoulder joint. Eventually bring it by the ear. So we're lengthening the whole body, maybe up. Feels a little more supportive, maybe all the way back if we're taking care of our shoulder. We wanna focus on sinking, and we shouldn't be resting on this leg. You should be able to pick that arm up, slide it along the leg. You might even hold it up. You might send it out. Breathe. Strong legs here. We'll take one more breath. Inhale, really lengthen. Exhale, push with the feet, come back up to warrior two. Front palm's gonna flip up. Exhale, we're gonna tip backwards. So we're reaching for the floor, we're reaching for the ceiling. That back arm can be in front of or behind that leg, creating lots of space here. Sink to challenge. You might even open up to more of a crescent shape. You can even bend the arm and kind of let it pull you open a bit more. Breathe, try to stay low, back legs nice and strong, holding you up. Inhale, exhale to warrior two. Good, windmill to the top of your mat. Find downward facing dog. I'm gonna give you some options here. You can stay here, you can come to that resting pose, or you can do a bit of a flow for the upper body. Shifting forward to plank, toes or knees, tuck. You can lower all down and find your cobra. So I had you inhale to come down before. If you're feeling strong in the back, you can stay right here. Inhale, curl the toes. Exhale, draw the belly button up to find down dog. Two more times. If we want a little bit more, we shift forward, tuck, lower almost all the way down, chaturanga, flip onto the tops of the feet, upward facing dog. Now you can inhale lower or inhale right here. Exhale, draw belly button up as you find down dog. One more time. We shift forward, brace, lower, lengthen, opening up. Exhaling to down dog. Good work. All right, side two. Let's soften these knees. Pick up the left leg, sweep it through, spin the heel, warrior two on the other side. I'm going to turn around, so I'm still facing you. Take a moment, set it up. You know we're here for a little bit. Breathe, shoulders over top of hips, back foot pressing down. Try to get 50% of your weight in each leg if you can, so you're not dumping everything in this leg. You know it's going to get tired, right? Breathe. So again, wider, lower, more challenging, shorter, not as low, less challenging. You do you. Right now we're going to shift forward. Forearm lightly rests. We can open up maybe a few shoulder circles here. That feels nice for that joint. And then we land it. Reaching, reaching up, reaching behind. Listening to your body. So again, we're not resting on this leg because then you're not doing the work, right? There's work here. It's a balance of strength training and flexibility training. Breathe. Yoga is not just a stretching class. I mean, it can be, but that's not what we're doing today. Arm can reach. Maybe we sink a bit lower. Spread those toes. Strong feet. That's your foundation, like the basement of your house. Core is on. Inhale. Exhale. Draw back up. Press those feet into the floor to do it. Front palm up. Exhale, we tip backwards. Reverse warrior. Back arm. I prefer not to rest it on the leg because lots of people push. And I want to avoid that. So in front of or behind is my preference. If we are resting it on the leg, it's not on the knee. And maybe we open up, maybe we sink a bit. We can bend that elbow so we get a little more pull to create space here. Dynamic tension in the arms. Inhale. Exhale, back up to warrior two. Let's windmill to the top of our mat. Find down dog. So again, you can chill out here or work through that little flow. Now this is where you can also add some push-ups if you like. So instead of doing that flow, you might take the hands wide or keep them tucked in and just do a bunch of push-ups while you're here on the toes, on the knees. You want to make sure you're getting 90 degrees if you're doing a wide push-up or those elbows are tucked in. If you're doing a tricep push-up. Otherwise, if you're doing that flow, there's probably about one more left. So we shift forward, we tuck, we lower, lengthen, open. Inhale, exhale to down dog. Let's take a few breaths here so we can all meet. So maybe you take the opportunity to walk your dog, maybe roll up on the toes. That's a nice stretch for your feet. Maybe just focus on breathing. Maybe focus on really stretching the back here. Let's take one more breath. Heads just between the arms. Good. Roll up on the toes. Bend the knees. Take your gaze forward. Walk or jump up behind your hands to your forward folds. You might not make it quite all the way like I didn't. It's okay. Soften the knees. Reverse swan dive or roll all the way up. Find your mountain pose. All right, we're going to do a little bit of standing balance right now. We're going to come back to some standing poses and then back to balance again. Balance is very important. And we're going to incorporate functional strength, mobility training actually with this. So if you need to, you can have a light touch on a chair or on a wall. Otherwise, hands wherever they're comfortable to help support you. Spread your toes, shift your weight to one foot. And as always, if you've done my classes, we can be right here. We're still balancing, right? We don't have 2 feet solid underneath us. We've shifted our weight, so we're balancing. You might just lift the knee, all right? So a little bit of mobility training in this hip. We're gonna turn the knee in like we're knock-kneed. And then we're gonna come back to the center, lift the knee higher, take the knee out to the side, and then we're gonna lift the heel behind us. So we're turning that hip. Draw the foot all the way behind you like you're about to curtsy. Toe might touch down, might stay up. Good, let's reverse that. Bring the knee back up, turn it back down, bring it back to the front. All right, we're gonna do one more time on this side. So we come across the body, back to the front, lift the knee, open up, turn the heel behind you. Bring that leg behind you like you're gonna curtsy. Then lift back up, turn back down, whoo, come back, and release. Good. Side 2, different than side 1. We probably did our strong side first. Plant yourself, root yourself. Take a moment. You can always come back here. This is home base. Like I said, you're still balancing here. Maybe you want the arms open for a little more stability. You might keep them fluid. Whatever you like. Time. All right, knees lifted. We come to the center. Then we come back. Then we lift more. And then we open up. And then we turn the knee forward, heel back. Bring that leg behind us. You might touch down. Try not to. I'm going to bring my hands back to hips. I like that better. Bring the leg back. Turn back down. Come back to the front. One more time. We cross in front. We come to center. We lift a little more. Open up. Turn the heel back. Bring the leg behind you. You'll notice I'm wobbling more on this side. This is my harder side. We bring that leg back. Turn the heel back down. Woo! Shouldn't have had some last night. Come back to center. And lower down. Shake out those legs. So that was great for your hip mobility. All right, something you should do every morning. Top of your mat, if you're not still there, take a breath. Reset the body in your mountain pose. Check in with your core. Feel free to stay here for up to you. And then we're going to inhale, sweep up, palms touch. We're going to find that chair. Arms can come out. Arms can lift. You can hold this back. Lift it up. You might pulse for a little bit more. So I'm going to leave that up to you. This is to challenge yourself. So you get to decide. Breathe. One more. Full inhale. Full exhale. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, swan dive. Slide up to flat back. Slide back down. Soften knees, fingertips down, left leg back, nice and wide. Spin the heel all the way up to warrior two again. All right. So again, challenge, wider, lower, pull back, shorten, not as low. All right, you do you. Checking in with our legs, back foot nice and strong. Breathe. This time we're gonna straighten that front leg. We're gonna shift, pause, breathe here. And then tip, like a teapot, glue your hand to the front of your leg. Other arm can reach up. It can also come around to the low back in our triangle pose. What I want your focus to be on here is opening up. This is a rotation. So you can even place your hands on the rib cage and draw them open, or think about your shoulder blade, draw it back. If you feel like you're leaning forward like this, you probably are. You can look in the mirror, it's okay. So what happens then is we might not be able to get that rotation. So what we need to do is pull back so we can open up. That's your goal in a triangle pose. All right, strong feet. If you can maintain that open space and come back down, feel free to explore it. Breathe. Nice strong feet here. Good, start to soften that front knee. Make this into a side angle. Breathe here, the arm might reach. We might pick up that hand off the leg. We might extend it. Back leg is strong. So we're not dumping everything into this guy. He's gonna get angry at you if you do that. Core is on. So you'll notice we took that rotation. We maintained it when we came here, right? Take a nice big inhale. Press with the feet, come back up to your warrior two. Float your hands to your hips. We're just gonna straighten that front leg. And we're gonna start to bring that back leg in just a little bit so we can start to turn a little more towards that front leg. And then we're just gonna bend the knee again. So now we've found warrior one. Breathe. You'll notice my knee is over top of the ankle. So you just wanna make sure knee's not pushed. Don't like that. Set yourself up on a flat back. Not about how far you can reach the far, all right? Focus on lengthening the spine and stretching the back of your leg. So push your heels back, push your crown forward. How long can you get from tailbone to crown of the head? Lift the belly up, support your spine. Keep that length, and if you can keep it, then maybe we fold a little deeper. Breathe. Keep finding that length. Keep pushing tailbone back. Neck is long. One more breath here. Split. Good work. We're going to tuck one knee behind the other. Exhale, press, and open up. So I'll let you decide. You're going to do as many as you can in 3 breaths. So you might be moving. You fold. Maybe we clasp elbows here. Maybe we shake and nod. I'm pushing the feet and lifting up one vertebrae at a time until you get all the way to the top. Good. Inhale, sweep up. Palms touch. Let's find our chair. We're going to hold here for 3 breaths. So you can just hold this pose in its variations. You can squeeze in some pulses, some squats. I'll leave that up to you. Core is on, whatever you're doing. Neck is long. One more breath. And then we use the next inhale to rise. Exhale to swan dive. Good. Softening knees, fingertips down. Right leg back this time. Spin the heel. Find your warrior challenge a bit more. Otherwise, we pull back. In all cases, we want to even out the weight between both legs. Breathe. I like to spread my toes to really ground myself. And then we're going to straighten that front leg. Shift forward like you're reaching for, maybe the wine after class with the cookies. They're soft. Press those toes down. It's going to prevent you from locking the knees. And then we tip. We find our triangle. So remember, this is all about rotation. So we can find those ribs, peel them open, draw that top shoulder blade back. Sometimes it helps to bring the arm behind us. You don't want to be pushing on the leg, so I coach you bring your hand in front of or behind and kind of glue it there. If, again, we feel like we're not open, and you can tell if you take a look or have somebody look at you, right? We might need to pull back to create space. If we can keep that space, then maybe we deepen as the body starts to release. Maybe we're not there yet. Okay. Breathe. Good. One more breath here. And then we're just going to... All right, one more breath here. And we're going to pull ourselves up. Float your hips. We're going to step in with that back leg. So we're going to start to turn the body a little bit with this knee bend. Great. We're now in warrior one. Release shoulders. And focusing on that long spine. Sitting. So the knees, we keep that length. We might be deep in the stretch with that length. Breathe here. Good. One more breath. Then we start to soften the knee so the fingertips can come down. We lift that back leg, standing split. Breathe. So we have options here. We can stay right here. This can be balancing enough for a lot of us. We might bring one or both hands to that ankle. Or for the next 3 breaths, we might get a little bit more work for the legs as we crouch and kind of explode. Maybe every other one. So I'll let you decide what you're doing. Let's take one more breath here. Let that leg lower back down. Find your forward fold and hang here. You might clasp elbows. You might shake or nod. One more breath here. And then again, this time, try to keep the hands free. Maybe keep the legs a little bit longer. Really push the heels into the floor as you roll up. One vertebrae at a time. You're engaging the back. Come all the way up. Pause. Whew. All right. A little bit more mobility training and a little bit more balance, and then we're going to come into some deeper stretches. Let's just take a moment. Plant ourselves wherever we can be on our mat. Knees are soft. We're going to work the shoulder girdle. So think about shoulder rolls, but we're going to break it down. All right. So we're going to lift the shoulder blade up. You're going to send the shoulder blades towards each other. Draw the shoulder blades down and then separate the shoulder blades. So it's up, draw them together, draw them down, separate them, switch direction, bring them together, lift them up, separate, draw down. One more time. Draw them together, lift them up, separate them, draw them down, and then shake that out. We might even do a little bit of twisty motion. Knees are soft. Release, get some nice rotation in the body. Our spine loves that. Should do this in the morning also. All right, let's come back to center. We're going to do a little bit more balance. So we're going to come to one of my favorite poses, tree pose. Pick your foot that you want to start with. It's probably your strongest one. That's okay. Spread the toes. Other foot's going to turn out to the side. And it can be anywhere between this 90-degree space and the front. So anywhere in here, as long as the knee and toe are pointing in the same direction. We're going to pick up that heel, bring it above that ankle bone, hands wherever we like. And then we can just be here. We can come here anytime. We can open the arms up, send the arms up to challenge, relax the shoulders. We might pull this foot up above the ankle, below the knee. I really want you to focus on the supporting leg here. So we're really pushing that foot in. We have a tendency to pop into this hip. We want to try not to. We want to keep that hip strong and supportive. So we really push that foot in. All right. We might be able to pick up this foot, bring it above the knee, so it's never placed on the knee, but we want to maintain that long leg so we're not pushing that foot and popping this hip out. We're staying nice and tall. All right. So listening to your body, breathing here, nice strong supporting leg to challenge. We lift branches up. We might feel more secure tucked in. Hands on hips, kind of a power pose, or open. I'll leave that up to you. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Find your focal point. It's going to help with your balance. Remember, core, drawing that belly button in is going to help with your balance. Finishing this breath, and then gently release back down. We can shake out that leg and set up side 2, which might lengthen side 1. Spread the toes. We open up, excuse me, this hip. Above the ankle bone, this is balancing. This is our base. We might bring the foot up above the ankle, below the knee. Core is on. Find our focal point. We might lift our branches. We might pull this foot up above the knee. And again, we want to make sure that we're not popping that hip out. I see lots of tree poses with this hip popped out. And eventually, that's not going to feel good on the hip. All right, especially if we have any issues with our IT band. So we want to press that foot in and maintain that length so we get that hip that's nice and solid and grounded here. Core is on, which means you might have to bring your foot back down like I'm doing right now, or even have toe on the floor to really get that focus. So if you notice that you're one of those people who always does this, we might just want to focus on being here and getting that strength and that length, that support from our hip. 1 more breath. Wherever you are, and then release down, shake out. Good job. All right, let's take you to the top of the mat. Our last mountain pose. Inhale, let's sweep up, palms touch. Let's find our chair. 3 breaths here. Option to sink and hold, option to do some little squats. You might stand all the way up, really push those feet in. I will leave it up to you for your 3 breaths. Core is on. Let's take 1 more breath, whatever we're doing, holding or moving. Next inhale, we rise. Exhale, swan dive. Pausing here for a breath. And then we're going to soften the knees. Let the hands come down, walk back to down dog. And we can hold here, find resting pose, find some push-ups, or find that flow, make it your own. So we can shift forward, lower, lengthen. We can come down, or we can go straight to down dog. We can just be here and do some push-ups. Tricep push-ups with the elbows tucked in. Chest and back push-ups with the hands off the mat. I'll leave that up to you. You got a little more time here to do what you need to do what you want to do. Finding our breath, whatever you're doing. We call this playtime in yoga. So 1 more breath, moving through whatever you're doing, and then make your way to rest. You can do it with the arms. We're going to rock side to side. Take some deep breaths. You can really feel the ribs expand here in the back body. 1 more breath here. And then we're going to come up onto all 4s again. So our hips over top of our knees. Starfish hands, shoulders slightly behind our wrists so the wrists don't get tired out. We're going to get some mobility in our back. So inhale, we're going to lift up the arm, and then exhale, just draw it underneath us. Inhale, open up. Exhale, come across. Now, If it's uncomfortable for the shoulder, we feel like we really can't open up, shorten the arm, lead with the elbow instead, and then slide the arm across. So you just shorten the lever if you need to. Strong supporting other hand. Trying to really create some space as we open up. And let's hold this last one down here, thread the needle pose. So we use our body weight to stretch the shoulder and the back. The head might rest on the floor. It might stay up. Other arm can reach forward or stay tucked in. Breathe here. Finish this breath. And then pick yourself up, reset onto all fours again. So of course, we're gonna do the other side. All right, so inhale, we lift. Exhale, we come across. Again, you can shorten the lever, lead with the elbow instead of lengthening the arm. So we shorten the lever if we need to take care of that joint, or if we feel like we don't have the mobility in our spine to turn and open up. We just gotta work at that and just work within our body's ability to move. That's all you can do, right? Next time we come down, we hold, body weight, stretches, thread the needle, other arm might come out. Your toes could be flat or curled, up to you. One more breath here. And then we're gonna pick ourselves up, slide forward onto our belly, work for our back. So hands just underneath our shoulders, lengthen the spine, create some space, and then we're gonna lift upper and lower body. So we can focus on holding here as long as we can, breathing. If you want more work, we can reach forward, inhale, exhale, draw back, open up, inhale forward. So kind of like a crunch for our back. So this is a little more advanced, a little more challenging. So I'll leave it up to you. You can also just be holding. You might even have a light finger touch here. You might keep the feet down. If your back is really cranky, you might even just come to a nice supported Sphinx pose with your forearms on the floor. So whatever you're doing, let's find 2 more breaths. And then make our way to resting pose. Stretch that back out. Breathe. Tuck yourself in if you need to. If you feel like you need a little more stretch in the back, we're going to pick ourselves up, hips over top of our knees. Send the arms out as far as they go. And then just draw back so we get this nice stretch through the lats, a little bit in the backs of the shoulders. Feel good in the armpits. Kind of let your heart melt towards the floor a little bit. Good. And then walk yourself up wherever you are. Come to a seated position. We're going to take the legs out in front of us. So I'm going to give you again the opportunity to do some work here or to just hold. So we're going to find those sitting bones. We're going to press them down so we sit up nice and tall. We're going to flex the feet a little bit so that top of the leg, our quads are engaged a bit, but our heels are on the floor and the knees are still soft. Do that zipper up. Press those sits bones. Lift up through crown of the head. This can be challenging, staff pose, for a lot of people. Works our core strength to really hold us here. You can imagine, perhaps you have a book on top of your head. You might lift the arms up here to lengthen that lever. Breathe. One more breath. Relax the shoulders, wherever the arms are. And then we're going to sweep the arms just outside and just behind hips. And we're going to start to push. We can lift and just open ourselves up, mongoose pose, or we can start to pick ourselves up off the floor. We might even lift to a reverse plank. This is a tough one for coming all the way up. There's some upper body strength. We're using the back body here. And then you can pick your favorite pose, or maybe take a few breaths in each. If you want work here, we're going to lower down, lift up, lower the hands, and lift. So you're going to continue as you go if you want that little extra challenge and a little more work here. Otherwise, you can focus on just holding the staff pose. You might focus on lifting yourself or opening up the front body or holding your plank pose here. So I'll let you do you. Just a little bit more playtime here. Spreading those fingers, starfish hands, squeezing the back body to help lift and open up the front body if we find that reverse plank at all. So finishing out, one more breath, whatever we're doing. And then releasing the arms all the way down. Whew. Good work. Let's bend those knees. We're going to find our boat pose or some modifications of it. So again, on those sitting bones, we're lifting up nice and tall, hands light underneath the knees, starting to lean back. So we feel the core engage. Roll shoulders down and back, lengthen through the head. So we'll find our edge right here. We might be able to pick the arms up. Now I'm going to give lots of options here. You can find modified boat with the feet up. You might, if you want more of a challenge, keep the feet down and lift through the center of the chest to do some crunches. So we're lifting, going forward. And you might even roll down further forward, keeping a nice open back, open chest, shoulders down. And again, we might just be focusing on holding ourselves here. So whatever you're doing, 3 more breaths if you can. This is hard. Whew. Nice. And then bring the feet down. Roll yourself all the way down. So got mat behind me. Finding our constructive rest here. Breathe. Feel free to windshield wipe. So we're going to come to a bridge. And then we're going to do some stretches. If you prefer a little more work, do your flowing bridges. So lift up, come down, lift up, come down. We're just going to do one. Feet hip distance, maybe a bit wider. Ankles slightly ahead of our knees. I like a lot of space there, so I have a nice base. Palms up or palms down. Roll the shoulder blades down. Use your exhale to push with the feet to rise. So we're squeezing posterior chain here. We're opening up the front body. Neck is neutral. We have that nice curve in our neck. All right, so I'll just show quickly. If you want a little bit more work here for a posterior chain for your butt, you're going to lower partway down, lift and squeeze. Do that for as long or as much as you like in the next few minutes of class. Otherwise, the rest of us, we're going to lower down. We're going to hug the right knee in, get some movement in that ankle, making some circles in one direction and then in the other direction. And then we're going to lift that leg up. We're going to hold on to the back. If we can, the calf. You might have to bend the knee more to do that. When I say that, I see lots of people holding on to the back of their leg here, but this is the muscle group we're stretching. So you're kind of sort of interfering with that. If we hold on to the back of the calf, we can really work on stretching these muscles without our hands being all over them. All right. Most people struggle in this pose. They try to pull their leg in really far, and that's really going to hurt our hamstrings if we don't honor them. So I prefer to bend the knee a little bit more and gently guide the leg back. And then you can extend the other leg, and you'll feel a little more tug. If that's too much, bend the leg. All right. Good. One more breath here. And then we're going to bend this knee, cross the ankle on the opposite knee. Gently move this knee away from opening up that hip. Press your tailbone into the floor. See if you can get a little more space in that hip. Breathe here. And then we're going to open the arms up out to the sides a little bit. And this foot that's up in the air here, this right foot, is going to start to come towards the floor. So we're going to twist with our legs in this position. And you might come all the way down to the floor. You might only come to, say, a block if you've got a block here. We might look the other way to stretch our neck here. Breathe into this lovely space you've created in this pigeon version of our twist. And then let's pick up the legs. Keep them as they are, but let them go the other way. So this top leg pulls on that other leg to create a little bit of tension, traction there to get a little more stretch. Breathe. Again, breathing into this space in our side body we've created. One more breath here. Let's see if we can create just a little bit more space. And then let's bring those legs up. We're going to change sides. So right leg comes down, hug in that left leg. Let's get some movement at that ankle joint, some circles in both directions, because how often do you do this during the day, right? And your ankles do a lot of work for you. And then let's extend that leg. And again, you heard my speech. I prefer you hang on to the back of the calf as opposed to where we're stretching. So that means you might have to bend that knee a little bit more, but you can draw it in closer with the hands. You can also use a strap here on the foot. I just didn't bring the strap into class today because lots of people don't have them, and it's just easier to coach you as I talk. You can also send the other leg out. That will deepen that stretch because you get that little bit of a pull. Everything's connected, right? One more breath here. And then with our right leg bent, we're going to bend this knee, cross the ankle, open up that hip, tip your tailbone towards the earth to see if you can create a little more space. Let's open the arms up. And then let that foot that's up in the air start to come down towards the floor. As we find our twist on this side, you can look the other way to stretch the neck. Some nice deep breaths here. If you're still doing those chair flows, feel free to join in and stretch at any time. Or not chair flows, bridge flows. Good. Let's lift the legs up. Keep them just as they are. Bring them to the other side. So the top leg now is a little bit of weight to maybe stretch down the side of that other leg. And you might feel this in your low back. You might feel it down the side of the leg, maybe even into the glute here. One more breath here. And then we're going to come into our final relaxation. So we're going to lift ourselves up. And we might just do a quick little windshield wipe to reset. That feels comfortable for the next 5-ish minutes. So we can be in constructive rest. If your back is a little cranky, you can come knock-kneed. You can come up to a chair, side lying, seated position. You can find your blanket or a sweater, socks. Make yourself comfortable. Your sweat, if you got some sweat going, you're going to cool off quickly. So you want to make sure you keep your body warm. Take a moment to settle in, snuggle in. Find your breath. Inhaling through nose. Exhaling through nose or mouth, whatever feels better to you in this moment. And just take 3 breaths here, letting each exhale get longer and trying to sink a little more deeply into the space that's holding you. So trying to find a sense of peace perhaps, or even just a little bit of relaxation on what might be a busy day for you or a busy time of year. If you're here live, I commend you for taking this time for yourself. If you're not here live, I commend you for taking this time for yourself when you can find it. Focus on the breath. It's something simple and easy to focus on. You might count the inhale, count the exhale, let it be longer, and just notice how your body kind of melts into your space as you release that breath. And then I was going to read one more passage to you from Mark and Angel Chernoff's book. So I'm reading their words to you, but I feel like I could have written this. So this passage is called Magic Happens. I've always believed in the beauty of a great journey, discovering new places, seeking life experiences, fostering relationships, and pursuing my dreams. In fact, it's all I've ever really wanted to do. I just want to believe in something that's worth believing in and then pursue it with every facet of my being. Such journeys, I've found, are best when we share them with others who, like me, are crazy enough to assume that our wildest dreams are just a brief distance away from reality. These are the folks who realize that impossible is simply a mindset, something we get when we haven't trained our minds and our hearts to see past the systems that currently exist to ones that don't yet exist. Because when our minds and our hearts and our hands work together, magic happens. Let's just take a few moments here to find a blip of peace. Letting a little bit of magic happen, perhaps. Letting our jaw soften and our cheekbones. Releasing our glutes and our back. Relaxing our feet. You can spend as much time here as you want to, or able. Feel your practice is complete. You need to get on with your day. Let's take 3 deep breaths here. Nice big inhale. Slow exhale through nose or mouth. 2 more pace. Start to add a little bit of movement. Might wiggle fingers and toes. Might rock the body in any way that feels good. We might stretch the body long, maybe force a yawn. We might bodies, but slowly, mindfully, taking care of ourselves, making our way up to a seated position, if we're ready. Find that seated position, allowing ourselves to sit nice and tall for the breath to move in and to move out without forcing it, to let energy flow. And let's just take a moment to put one or both hands on our heart. And let's just take a moment for some self-love. You just did something fantastic for yourself today. Whatever version of this class that you did, and you might have even just watched it instead, and that's still taking time for yourself. Maybe taking a moment to acknowledge your body and what it allowed you to do today, and maybe little gains in strength that you noticed, or space that you created, or mobility that you gained. And I just want to take a moment to thank each of you for showing up, whether you're here live or not. I thank you for the support you've offered me this past year and hopefully in years to come. I send my love to each of you and your families. Let's bring our palms to heart center. Acknowledge the light and love in each other. Namaste. Take your time in this space if you're still in Shavasana, or just take a moment to get up and kind of regroup. It's okay to hide from your family if you need to. I hope to see you soon, and take care.